Hey, welcome back to the Advanced Coaches Prep course. Again, I'm Joshua Pellis here. Today I'm going to go over something called rapport levels. And rapport levels are, for me, probably one of the most important and brilliant concepts that I had to understand before I could really understand rapport in general. And maybe you've heard this before, but it seems to be, and if you look back on your life, you'll probably realize this, that your worst enemies in life, people that you sort of loathe the most, if you loathe anyone, almost all of them used to be friends or someone that you were close to. Now, if you try to figure out why this was, it's a pretty interesting thing, and it sort of plays right into building rapport and understanding rapport with women. The reason why is because when you build rapport, that is a level of connection with someone, you build that rapport over time, and it's sort of like levels going up like this. Imagine like a bar graph. So it comes up like this, and to a certain height, and then after a while, you're both at the same point and you're both sort of leveled out, and that's good. But if you one person builds way more rapport and reveals too much, there's a big gap, and this is a trust gap. So you'll see that there's this much space, and maybe you have a lot of rapport and you trust a whole lot, and they only trust till at this level. So there's a big misconception here, miscommunication in the relationship, and you will expect them to be at the same level as you, so you'll be like, why don't you trust me, why don't you care, and blah, blah, blah. Or maybe they'll do the same thing to you if you're down here and they're up here. So that's a common problem with rapport. And the reason why this can sort of be a problem in the future, the reason why rapport can be something that turns friends or girlfriends into future enemies moving forward, is because rapport levels, unlike attraction and unlike other areas of this sort of attracting women, is understanding and being a badass woman, like seduction and relationship balance. A rapport never goes away. It's always there. It stays there over long, extended periods of time. And we're talking, for every year that you spend in rapport with someone, it would take half that time, 6 months worth of time, before you can start to drop the rapport. But for that 6 months time, that half the time, and maybe you've heard this before, if you've been with someone for 10 years, it takes about 5 years to get over them. So sort of the ratio is sort of years spent or time spent divided by 2 equals time to recovery time. And so the reason why, though, rapport is so strong, what happens is that instead of deleting rapport and getting rid of it quickly, what we end up doing is we end up shifting it from positive rapport to negative rapport. And what I mean by that, essentially it means that because someone's close to you and they know so much about you, when they sort of betray you, or you feel betrayed, or you feel sort of unwanted or whatever, instead of it just being like a normal, oh, well, they don't want me, whatever, I don't really care because I don't really like them either, it doesn't matter. Instead, it's like, oh, that person really understands me, that person, we've had a connection, and now they say this. Instead of accepting that about myself, I have to think that they're bad. They're a bad person, right? So what we end up doing is we end up shifting the rapport from positive rapport to negative rapport. And this is called rapport levels or rapport shift. And so what does that mean? Well, that means that when you're close to somebody, you have much more of an opportunity then to make a massive enemy out of them than you do if you're not close to them at all, if you don't know them at all. So the more someone thinks about you, the more they invest in you, the more they invest in knowing you and building connection with you, the more important that connection is for you. If you just up and leave, you don't say anything, if you avoid them, if you talk shit about them, whatever, it's going to hurt a lot more if you have rapport built with them than it would if you didn't have rapport built with them. And the same thing from them toward you. If they started talking shit about you, you'd be much more offended if you knew them and they were friends with you than if they weren't friends with you at all and you didn't really care that much. Don't get me wrong, hearing shit talked about you regardless is never fun, but it wouldn't matter as much if a bum came up to you off the streets and started talking shit to you. You'd be like, whoa, bum, get out of here, But if one of your friends started doing that behind your back or to your face, it would be really upsetting. So an important concept is that, and what I want to drive home here, is that you cannot delete rapport. It takes a very long time to go away, so don't try to. Instead, manage whether or not it is positive or negative rapport. After the positive rapport ends and you can't continue it, make sure you manage it and maintain it at least a neutral light, because if you shift that to a negative rapport, you may have one of the worst enemies you've ever had in your life. That goes for friends, that goes for girlfriends, that goes for bosses, family members, anything. And it's really important that you understand that concept, because moving forward, you are going to be breaking up with women because you probably won't meet your wife next. You'll probably meet her in the future. And it won't be the next woman that you're with, that you sleep with, that you hook up with, whatever, that you date. That probably won't be your girlfriend or your wife, future wife, if you even want one. And so you'll have to let them go at some point, and it's sort of an art to doing that. And one of the key components you need to know is that if you just disregard them altogether and just split and don't care, you're going to make a very big enemy out of them, and they'll go out of their way to try to stop the pain that they're going through. And usually that pain is related to you, and if they can make you feel that pain, then their pain starts to stop as well. They want you to be at level. So they'll do that. They'll go through the trouble to make that happen, and one person can ruin your life. It's kind of how it is. So anyway, rapport levels are a very crucial component. Keep that in mind as you start to build rapport. If you don't think you can keep good on rapport with somebody, that meaning if you don't think that you can continue to build the rapport with them over time and continue to maintain it, I would suggest that you hold off the rapport at a certain level and you don't go deeper with it. If you want to know more about rapport, I talk about it a lot in these videos, but I also have a major section in my book, an entire chapter on rapport. So check that out, and comment below and let me know what you think about the rapport levels. There aren't a lot of ways to apply this immediately. They're going to make an instant response back, an instant difference, but as you move forward, very crucial concept, and it's one of the things that really helped me understand rapport at the level at which I do. And I believe rapport, in my opinion, is my favorite stage in the map of interaction. So I hope you really take this seriously. So again, comment below. Let me know if you have any questions, or let me know what you think, and I'll comment on top of it, and I'll see you in the next video.